Okay, I'm looking at B, and I've read the problem, and I have built my equations. F of x is equal to 125 plus 45x for electrician A, and then g of x is equal to 150 plus 38x for electrician B. And frankly, guys, you can put the x term first if that makes it, look more like your slope-intercept that you're familiar with, but it really doesn't make any difference. Okay, so there are my two equations, and I can tackle this in a variety of ways. I can sit there and I can plug in 0 and then 1 and plug in 2 and plug in 3 and plug in 4 and do it all by hand. And I can plug in the same stuff over here for the other one and build my table that way. And you can certainly do it that way. But here's what I'm going to do. I am going to take my calculator and I'm going to put both equations into the calculator. I'm going to have to change my window settings again, just simply because I need to kind of be able to get in the ballpark. I'm going to go from 0 to 10 for my x values. I really probably don't even need up to 10. But 0 to 10 for my x values. If I look at my two equations, I know that the smallest y value I'm going to have is 125 because that is my lower y-intercept. And I can tell from the equations that the lines will be positive, so that they will slope up and to the right. So the y values are only going to go up from 125. So I just put in a minimum of 125 for y values, and I put in 450 for max values. That's just kind of a best guess. All right, and then let's hit the graph button. Here's what I get before I do any zooming or anything like that. All right, and then I'm going to remind you that you can actually, if you want, do a little bit of seeing what your f of x or g of x values are when your x values are certain things. So if you hit the trace button, right now it's showing you that it's talking about the equation 125 plus 45x. Okay, so it says it right there. And down here for the little blinking cursor, that is at an x value of 5, which corresponds to a y value of 350. Okay. And if I want, I can put in 0 for x. And that gives me a y value right there of 125. I can put in 1 for x. Hit enter. Trying to get to where the glare is not too bad on my... Okay, 1, and then the y value is 170 with that. X value of 2, enter. Y value 215. X value 3, y value 260. Which makes sense because it's going up by 45. X value of 4, enter. Y value 305. I've already done the x value 5. So x value of 6. And you get a y value of 395. Okay. All right, then I need my other line. So I'm going to use this little button right here, and it changes to the other equation. Notice that now it's giving me y2 is equal to 150 plus 38x. And then I can do the same thing. When x is, just hit 0. When x is 0, y is going to be 150. Oops. When x is 1, it's 188. Okay, and I'll just call these out and y'all can write them down. When x is 2, 226. When x is 3, 264. When x is 4, 302. When x is 5, 340. And when x is 6, it's 378. Okay, so I used the calculator to fill all this in. And then it says from the table the solution must be between what and what. All right, well, 260 is smaller than 264. But by the time we get to x equals 4, my f of x value is bigger than my g of x value. So they've kind of crisscrossed, which means that my intersection of my line is going to be somewhere between 3 and 4. Okay, we're going to go back and use the trace and intersect. So let's do that. Go to trace, and let's kind of zoom up there. I think it's kind of in there somewhere. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So hit zoom. You got to hit 2 to zoom in. Okay, and then if I hit enter again, it'll redraw it zoomed in, and that looks pretty good. And then if I enter, it'll zoom it in some more, and now I can tell I'm off just a tad. Okay, to me that looks pretty good. All right, and then I can say, I think let's calculate an intersect. So that's number 5. What I did is I hit second function, and the trace is that's calculate. Calculate intersect. And hit enter. First curve. Try to kind of get them to where they look like they're intersecting. First curve. Second curve. Looks pretty good. Take a guess. Sure, there's my guess. 3.571 is my x value. My y value is 2.85.7. Okay, I'm going to write those down just so that I have them handy. Or actually, just so happens that that's the exact same as what they have right there. So let's just keep that in mind, and then we're going to solve the old-fashioned way and see what we get. Okay, so I set the two equal to each other because remember we're trying to figure out for what number of hours will the two electricians charge the same amount of money. I did a little bit of rearranging. I said minus 38x to both sides. I said minus 125 to both sides. Cleaning it up a little bit, I have 7x equals 25. So divide both sides by 7. And x is going to be whatever 25 divided by 7 equals, which is 3.571, which is basically what I got up there. Okay, so that looks good. So what that means is just over 3.5 hours of work is when they're going to be charging the same amount. And what amount would that be? Well, what they would charge at 3.57 hours is $285.71, it looks like.